Welcome to this tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I create the top-down racing tracks for my 2D Racer series in Godot using nothing more than Inkscape. If you're new to digital art or game development, don't worry, this is a really simple method that anyone can follow, especially considering that I am definitely not any kind of designer or artist. What we'll do is build a racetrack from scratch using just a few basic tools, really. We're going to draw a path, shape the curves, widen the stroke, turn it into an object, add a bit of shadow and texture to the track, and that is basically it. So by the end of this tutorial, hopefully you'll have understood the full process and you'll be able to apply it to your own art as well. So let's dive in. Okay, so to make a start, I fired up Inkscape, made a brand new project, and the version of Inkscape that I'm using, if I go to help and about Inkscape, is version 1.4.2. So if you're watching this far in the future and you're using a newer version and things don't work, you can always go to the Inkscape website and download this specific version from the downloads page. They usually have previous versions available. So I'll close that down. If you're brand new to Inkscape and you've just created a new project, you may be a little bit confused by seeing a grey background with a white document in the middle. Don't worry about that. You can get rid of that by going to File, Document Properties. Then in the Document Properties, if you click this desk here, you'll probably find by default the HSV, I think, selected. If you select the RGB and scroll all the sliders to the right, so you've got values of 255, that'll turn everything white. Then you can uncheck the border option, which I think by default is checked. Yeah, it is there. I can see it there. Uncheck that, and you should have a nice plain white page to work with. So I'm going to close that down. So let's get started drawing our track. To do this, we're going to make some straight lines, which we'll then make into curves. Remember, we're going for a kind of cartoony effect here because it's a very top-down 2D racer. We're certainly not talking about real-life simulation. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to click the pen tool. That highlights the pen tool, and you should see the mouse cursor change to a pen. And it's simply a matter of clicking with the mouse, so left click here, sets a point, and then moving the mouse without holding the mouse button down to the next point, and again clicking with the mouse button, that sets another point. Then I'll move the mouse and click the button, that sets another point, and keep going like this, setting points to make a rough layout of what you'd like. So I'm going for something sort of Monza-like here. I don't want to upset the die-hard Formula 1 fans, so I'll make a little bit of a chicane there and go through Lesmo 1. Lesmo 2 can be at a slightly different angle to real life. Then we'll come down to the Ascari chicane here as well, maybe go up a little bit like this before coming back down to the start. And for the final point, if you hover over the final point, you can close things up by left-clicking there. Now, when you left-click on here, you may or may not get something filled like this. If you don't, please don't worry about that. It purely depends on what you've last done inside Inkscape. Inkscape saves everything you do as your next setting when you use a particular tool. I really don't like that personally, but that's what it does. You may see something different to what I do here. What I have here is the shape that we've drawn actually filled in. We're going to change that though. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to click this drop-down arrow here, and then open up the Fill and Stroke tool here by clicking on this little symbol here. So I'll left-click on that, and that opens up the Fill and Stroke. Now, when you do this, please make sure that you did have this selected. It may be you've accidentally deselected it, so I'm going to close that tool just to make sure you can follow along with me. So I will deselect it like this. If you're at all unsure, then select the Select tool at the top on the left-hand side here and just click on the area, and you should see it selected. Then I'm going to click the down arrow here and open up the Fill and Stroke tool again. So what I'd like to do is actually clear out this fill. We can see three tabs here: fill, stroke, paint, stroke, style. With the fill tab selected, I'm going to click this cross, which makes things look like they're disappearing. It's simply not filled in. Now I'm going to go to the stroke style in this case, and it's set by default in my case at 1mm, which is going to be much too thin. We'll come back to that though and adjust it in a moment. First of all, let's go to the stroke paint, and here we do want a paint. So rather than the blue cross here, what I'm going to do is click the flat color, and that's by default here set to black. I'm going to change these values. I'm going to change the red to 48, the green to 48, and the blue to 48, which will be a darkish grey colour, I hope anyway. The other thing to make sure here is the alpha, which is transparency slider, is set all the way up to 100, otherwise you'll have some unwanted transparency. So with that done, we can now work on the stroke style and the thickness. Now the value that we're going to set here really depends on your zoom level. I'm quite zoomed in the hope that you can see something. So across the top here, I've got around 800mm and 350 so down the left-hand side. You probably have much, much more. And it may be that you need a much bigger stroke width than I do. So it's really a little bit of trial and error to get the effect you want for the track. So when I was messing around, I found actually that around 70 was okay. Yeah, and that doesn't look too bad. These bits are overlapping here. I'll sort that out in a moment when we come to adjust the track's layout. I might actually go for a little bit thicker here and maybe actually go for 80. Yeah, that looks quite a bit better. I'm going to hold down Control and zoom out a tiny little bit like that. That's a bit too much. That's gone to 38. So down the bottom here, I can change that maybe to 45 and hit enter. That's better. And then just pan this across. That's looking pretty good, I think, for the layout of the track. As I said, I'll deal with this in a minute. So please change the width to something that you're happy with for your track. Once that's done, we can actually close up the Fill and Stroke. So I'll close that tab. Now we can turn our attention to actually shaping the track. To do this, make sure the selection tool is selected on the top left-hand side here. When it is, you can click on your stroke here and you should see either the curved arrows or the straight arrows, depending on how many clicks you make, appear here. If you do, then this is selected and we're good to go. With it selected, what we can do is we can click the node tool, which is just below the select tool on the left-hand side, and we can see all of the nodes that make up our track here. Now these nodes are configured at the moment to go straight from one node to the other. What we want to do is make these curved. So what I'm going to do with the node tool selected is really important. You can see that my mouse cursor is this thin little arrow. If I go back to the select tool, it's this thicker arrow. So with the thin arrow here, that's node tool, I'm going to draw a rectangle and bulk select all of these nodes. So all of them should go blue. And incidentally, in version 1.4.2 of Inkscape, the visualization of the nodes has become much easier than it used to be, so well done to the team. So with all of the nodes blue, what we're going to do is make these curved. We can do that by using one of the tools up here. I think it's this one. Yes, I'd like to auto smooth them. So I'll left click on that. I've now got a really nice cartoony, smoother looking track shape, which is pretty cool. What I'm going to do is click with the left mouse button off to the side here to deselect all of those nodes. And with them deselected, we can select node by node now and configure the track as we'd like. Now, if you're brand new to this may be a little bit confusing, so I want to show you quickly the main ways of doing this. So I'm going to select, for example, this node here. So I've left-clicked on this node here. When you select a node, you'll see you get two handles, and you'll very quickly realize from dragging it around that you can change the way the node behaves related to its neighbor nodes, and you can customize the look of the track. Now, the handles are working asymmetrically at the moment. You can make them symmetric by selecting a node and then clicking the symmetry tool up here. That'll make them symmetric. You can go back to normal by selecting smooth again, like so, and then you'll have individual controls. As well as moving the nodes around and also changing the handles, you might want to delete a particular node. So for example, I might not want this node here, so I can click on that and then simply click delete on the keyboard, and that node has disappeared. And then maybe grab hold of this one and move it out a little bit like this. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better like that. And finally, one more operation that you might want to do is add a node in somewhere. So let's say I want one in between these 2 points here. I'm going to select that one with the left mouse button, hold down shift, select this one, so they're both selected. And up here there's a tool to insert a node, and that inserts a node in between the two of them here. So you can also use that then to actually move the node. And what I did by accident there, but it's also handy to show you, is you can grab hold of more than one node and also then use the left mouse button to move those nodes as well. So there's really a lot of flexibility to be able to play around with and customize your track, and actually quite like that. So what I'm going to do now is speed this up and just adjust the layout a little bit so I've got something that I like. Okay, so I'm back after a little bit of messing around, and I'm quite happy with this layout. Actually, it looks pretty good. Should be fun actually when playing with a game. So now that's done, we can move on to the next step, which is going to be creating the coloured edges. To do this, we're going to do a little bit of a cheat. What we're going to do is duplicate what we have here, and basically make it bigger both in the inside and the outside, and give it a different colour and put it behind this. To do that though, we need to turn this stroke that we have here into what's known as a path. To do this, you need to make sure that you do have this selected. Now I do, because I'm working on the nodes, but just in case, I'm going to select the select tool on the top left hand side here, and then select this by clicking on it, making sure that it definitely is selected. So you should see this bounding box with these arrows here. It doesn't matter which arrows you have. If you click, they change each time, you've probably noticed, but it does need to be selected. Now it's selected, I'm going to select the node tool again so we can see what happens here. And then at the toolbar here, you'll see there's this stroked path. If you left click on that, you'll find the nodes disappear and they get replaced by a whole set of other nodes. Now with the path created, you can see that in my case anyway, there's a cluster of nodes in this angle of the corner here, and there's also a couple of them really close to each other here. Also here, this looks, I think, all right, but we'll find out in a minute. You may find if you left click somewhere off the path that you've actually got little bits of white maybe inside your track that you don't want to be there. If you have, don't worry about that. It's simply the node setup, which is probably quite difficult from code to do from a stroke. We can clean it up pretty easily though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click again on this to highlight all of the nodes and have a look at what's gone on in this corner here. So I'm going to pan over to here and then zoom into this, and then pan it over a little bit more. And I can already see we've definitely got some issues here. So this lot here can go, can't they? So I'm going to rectangle select all of that and simply hit the delete key to get rid of those. That's had absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the track. Then we've got this one here. We've also got this here as well. So I'm going to select this initial one actually and delete that one to clean that up. And that should leave us then just with this node. And I notice we have another one here. So that's really not necessary either. So I'm going to delete that one. That's better. And now we have a much better looking geometry, I think, inside this corner. So I'm going to zoom out, go over to this one here actually and zoom in. Let's have a look at you. How are you looking for handles? That's not too bad. Could argue whether we need that one or not here. I don't think we really do. So I'm going to delete that one as well. The handles on this one look nice. Incidentally, you can also use the handle controls up here for these nodes as well. Now I'm going to zoom out, but before that I'm going to click off this node. Otherwise what I'm going to do is multi-select rather than zooming. So I'll zoom out now. Let's pan over and have a look at the rest. So look to be a particular problem here. So I'm going to zoom in on this area here. Indeed, select this node, hit the delete key. I'd like to select this node. And I'm actually going to move it very quickly. Yeah, we look okay. I was worried there was one on top of the other, but that one looks all right. So I'm going to click off that one, zoom out again. And I'm sure you get the idea now. I'm going to speed this up, but simply go around all of the nodes that are on the insides of the corners. Like I can already see, actually, that's a good example before I speed up. This is a great one here. So you can see here, there's a little bit of an artifact here, and the handles are pointing in the same direction, which is not what we need. So I'm going to reset this handle. That's better. And that smooths that out nicely. Indeed, if you see a sort of tiny white patch in your track, usually the reason will be something like this. So I'll click off that one and control zoom out again. And I'm just going to quickly pan around and have a look. How are you? Okay, so what I am going to do now that I think you've seen what you need to do, I'm going to quickly speed this up and go all around the track and just quickly check the nodes on the insides of the corner, which is where things are more than likely to have gone a little bit wrong. Okay, so I'm back after a quick speed up, and there were a couple of nodes that needed sorting out, but in general actually it was pretty good, so that's not too bad. So we've now got our base track then as a path. Next step is now to create the edges. The way we're going to do this is by duplicating what we have here, changing the color, and then putting it behind this and changing the size slightly. So I'm going to get hold of the select tool on the top left hand side. Make sure that I have this selected. Then on the right hand side, we can click the drop down here, and you'll see with this one here that we've got the duplicate. The shortcut for that's actually Control and D, but I'll use the button I think for this example. So I'm going to left click on that, and that's created a duplicate. Now it looks like nothing's changed, and that's because our duplicate is the same. It's a duplicate, it's the same color, and it's sitting directly on top of this here. What I'd like to do is change the color of this. So clicking the menu again here to open this up, I'm going to open up the fill tool, and then you'll notice the fill tab is selected, and we seem to have fill. We didn't before, and if we look at the stroke, that's gone. But that's because we converted our stroke into a path, which is now filled. What I'd like to do is make this some kind of different color. So I'm going to scroll this out and make it some kind of nice sort of orangey color like this. I think that'll do. And now we want to change the size of this. And to do that, we're going to use something called Outset. If you go to Path, you'll see down the menu here, there's this Outset option. Now the shortcut for that is Control plus, and then a closing parenthesis for me. So I'm going to do one left click on the outset here, and that's made it, I don't know if you noticed, very slightly bigger. Now I'm going to do the same again, but using the Control and the closing parenthesis. So I'm going to do one again, so that's 2 of them, 3 of them, and 4 of them. And you can see the track expanding each time. Now what we want to do is we want to put this behind the other one. And to do that, it's dead simple. Up in the toolbar here, there's this lower selection to bottom. So I'm going to left click on that, and it's now gone behind the track. Now the edges are still a bit thin here. So what I'd like to do is hammer the outset a few more times. So I'm going to do that a little bit more until I've got some nice thick edges that can make up the edges of the track. And that, I think, looks okay, actually. So with that done, we can actually go and close down the fill and stroke menus. On the right-hand side, I'm going to click the cross there to close this down, and then pan this into the middle a little bit. That's better. Now what we want to do is add some inset shadow onto this. So it looks like the edges here are sort of walls a bit higher than the track. To do this, we need to make sure that we select the track. So I'm going to click on the grey area here. Make sure you have the selection tool selected in the top left. I'm going to click in the grey area. You can see the bounding box is bounding definitely the grey track here. If I selected the outside, so selecting, say, here, let's try that. There we go. I'm clearly on the outside selection here. So make sure you've clicked on the grey and you have the grey track selected. Once you have that selected, we're going to go to Filters, Shadows and Glows, and the Drop Shadow. When you select that, that should open a dialog that looks a little bit like this for you. It looks like here like nothing's changed, but what we can do here is we can select the live preview to see the effect. That isn't the effect that we want, but we can change the type here to inner. And you can see that gives a much nicer effect, I think, anyway. Now, if you want, you can play around with the offsets and the blur here, but I actually really like already, surprisingly, the default setting that's come here. I didn't expect that. If you've got much bigger dimensions on your screen than me, you may need to change these offset values. But in my case, the default actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to click Apply. Then after clicking Apply, you can click Close, and that's applied this shadow very nicely to the track. One thing to note here is the bounding box has now gone beyond the edges of the track. That's perfectly normal when you're applying filters. And with that said, we're actually very nearly done. The final thing to do here is apply a little bit of noise to the tarmac here, so we get a sort of nice sort of rough texture onto it. And that involves applying another filter, actually. So I'm going to go to Filters, then Overlays, and then Noise Fill. That opens then the Noise Fill dialog. I'm going to move that to here, and again select the Live Preview and see what we have. And I already really like, funnily enough, the default effect here. So you can play around with these a little bit if you like to see how it changes the noise filter. If you want, you can also go to the noise color and change the color of the noise. So you can see it's this sort of very faint sort of bluey color on here. So I could add, if I wanted, a little bit more green or something into there like that, but I actually don't like that. Maybe down like this is quite nice. And then you can also play around with the options and things here if you like, or even invert the effect if you want to as well. But I'm actually really happy with the effect that we have there. So I'm going to click apply on that and then close the dialog. And that is our track, nearly done and ready to go into our game. The final thing to do actually is export it. So on the right hand side on this toolbar here, I'm going to click the export here. That will open up the export dialog. What we'd like to do is actually export selection. So I'm going to click the selection at the top here. And the great thing about SVG is they are agnostic from size. So we can change the width and the height inside here, and it's going to look exactly the same. Obviously, we go 16 by 16 pixels. It will look a little bit blocky, but being an SVG, we're very flexible with the sizes that we can set. So for example, I'm going to set this, say, to 1024 wide, and that will make 696 in the height. Then click the browse button down the bottom here. And then in my case, I've browsed to an exports folder where I'd like to save it. And rather than path3, I think I'll call this track.png. Click save, and that will have exported it as a PNG. So if I drag over the exports folder where I've just exported it, you can see it here. And if I open that then in Microsoft Photo Viewer, you can see the track here with the transparent background, which is really handy for games. And what you've just seen is exactly what I did actually for the game series with the 2D top-down racer. So you can see here the Inkscape project file I was using. So I've got the cars, the splat and the tracks on here as well. And that's it. You've just created a full racetrack in Inkscape using only a handful of tools. I hope this helps show how simple and fun it can be to build your own assets, even if, much like me, you're not really an artist. If you found this useful, feel free to like the video, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks very much for watching, and have fun creating your own assets and tracks.